JB here, July 15th, almost 3 o'clock on this great afternoon. Going to talk really quick about the market, some names I'm traded today, some I'm looking at, and go from there. S&P is solidly in the green. Once again, this afternoon, about up 0.3%. A little bumpy after the morning highs. We hit, SPY hit highs around 11:15 or so, 564 and change. And then we melted all the way into the afternoon. The VIX was actually up over 6%. Uh, at the peak of the move to the pullback, and then we found some footing, and the market's kind of been chopping around ever since. Um, the big story has been and continues to be, at least since the cooler than expected CPI data, is this monster rally in small caps. They're up another 2% today. I can't. I would have to go back and see how many times I kept talking about wanting to see small caps to finally break out, and they're finally breaking out in a major way. I think it's up. They were up 6% last week, another 2% so far. So you're talking in 4 sessions, it's up 8%. So we'll see. If this continues, it'll be great. Some of the charts on the small caps, and if you start pulling back some highs at the end of 2021, I believe it was November, IWM high, all-time high is 235 and change. So I'm not saying that we're going to get there tomorrow or next week, but in the next coming weeks, I would think that's probably the target for the small cap. So you start looking, considering where the S&P and Nasdaq are and year-to-date performances, that would put the small caps kind of right up with them. So if those indexes remain flat or chop around while the small caps play catch up. So uh, interesting stuff. Good stuff. Also, Powell, I was speaking at the economic forum in Washington. I think that's what it was called. I listened for a little bit, but pretty much once he said he wasn't going to provide any details or commentary around the Fed policy, things like that, like current Fed policy, I kind of turned it off. So, and he pretty much said in a nutshell that, recent data has shown inflation's getting close to the targets, and that was that. So, didn't do much to the markets uh, after his comments. And then this week again, we have retail sales, the earnings. Netflix kicks off the tech side of the earnings on Thursday. That should be fun. Intuitive Surgical, Johnson and Johnson, some of the airlines, UALA, I think American, United. Yeah, 116 companies reporting this week. Well, BlackRock were a reporter. All right, so individual names. Square's making. Uh, Actually, I have the wrong slide up here, but if you see, you can see it on audio. I apologize. Square's up another 4.8% today. Some of that, I believe, would have to do with the crypto side. You have Bitcoin is up, I think it's up over 10%, right? A lot of that's on what happened over the weekend, and folks having more confidence in crypto. And you see names like Mara and Coinbase and MSTR just rocketing today. So Square, well, I keep saying Square, it's Block. Block has a piece of that in regards to the crypto side of the business. So that's some, I guess, the allure. If you look at some of the people who are bullish name, they think that kind of side of its business is what makes it attractive, especially at these levels. So you see here at 72, I was able to lock some of my 72.50 strikes in finally for a little over 100% or close to 100%. I'll just hold the rest. I think I'm probably, what Block has done every morning, pretty much after the open, it runs up hard and then pulls back and consolidates. This is one of the few times it's trading right at the highs near the end of the day. So my thought is that tomorrow it's probably going to gap up again. I'll use that as an opportunity to lock more or the rest of my calls in, and then look for the August strikes to play for a move, possibly into the 80s in the coming weeks. Again, Block was at 87.50 back in March. So I'm not saying that's the target. I'll take high 70s, 80, but I wouldn't rule that out that it can get there. Turn is also up. How many days in a row now? We got 1, 2, 3. Is this only the third day? Yes, it was 14% Thursday, 11% Friday, and it's up another 5% so far today. It broke the 10 handle. It hasn't done that in quite some time. And my $10 strikes, which I had added when I got to 750 strikes for July, are actually they're back to flat or they're slightly green. So good stuff. I'm gonna just hold on to those because maybe there's gonna be some overshoot. It looks like there was resistance at $10, like a lot of supply, people waiting to lock in there. Maybe that was a target for them. So probably gonna need a little kick to get through that. But I think once it gets through that, there'll be a quick move to 11 or $12. So really like turn here. I wish the premiums would go up in the August strikes. Despite the move Friday and today, the August 10s are not up as much as I thought they'd be. But once it gets into the mid 10s and 11s and 12s, that'll be a different story. So that's turn. Universal display, slow and steady to the upside over the last couple sessions. When I added the calls, I was a little concerned that it's not the most liquid name, so it's not volatile. So any little pullback, the premium's gonna start getting pulled out, especially as we get closer to Friday. It's at the upper Bollinger Band, and sometimes you can have a big upper Bollinger Band breakout on a stock, but typically that happens when you have consolidation. So it's in a tight trading range. The Bollinger Bands get tight as it's a tug of war, and then the buyers come in or the sellers come in and it busts through, and then it can stay above that upper Bollinger Band for a couple sessions. But considering that Universal Displays had a large move from $180 in June all the way up to 230, it's trading at that upper Bollinger Band, but it has been a tight trading range. So I think as much as I 250 or 255 is a target that it probably hits in the coming weeks and months, I'll probably just sit on my hands on that one for now and then try and revisit on the pullback. But able to lock some of the calls in for 100%. Didn't look like I was going to be able to a couple days ago, so happy with that. And take that one. Take some risk off, right? Nothing wrong with taking positions off. The less you have on, the less risk. And yes, if for some reason we get any craziness, it's always good to not be loaded to the gills in calls and be scrambling to try and salvage or take profits. I talked about Abbott already at the end of last week and this morning in regards to its earnings Thursday before the bell. I'm still eyeing calls. I'm kind of on the fence. So when I try and get calls at the start of a week, I would ahead of earnings that's out a couple days. I like to get premium builds so I have an opportunity to be able to lock some of the calls in to cover costs and ride the rest into the binary event. Uh, it opened in the green this morning and then it just tumbled all the way down to 102.74. So it didn't really give me any confidence to add some strikes. I'll continue to look to watch that one, but I might just pass for earnings. Excuse me. Celsius Holdings, I have no idea why it's selling off or sold off right at the open. It was gapping lower in the pre-market, almost like it had the analyst downgrade. And then right at the bell, it just got demolished. It was down 8% and 12%. Let's see, why am I putting this up here? Pepsi's still down today, right? And now it's down a little over 11%. Just nasty. You can make the case as a triple bottom, but my calls were expiring on Friday and they would need a huge move regardless of today's action, coming into today's action anyway. So I'll probably just put this one on the back burner and probably not revisit it for some time. There's been talks about their inventory and competition and things like that. So maybe this is, I'm not saying it's a story that the growth story is over, but a name probably not worth the risk reward for me trying to add some more strikes just yet. That's that. That's turn. Unity, same thing as Celsius, dropped right at the open. It was gapping, was 1740, 1750 in the pre-market. And then once the bell rang at 9:30, it sold off all the way down to 1656. Found a quick buyer, jetted back up into the 17s, traded there for most of the day, and then now it's back under $17. Very frustrating today. Going to need that to start breaking up near $18 by the end of the week, which I think it can. Once it starts looking like there's going to be a potential break up through 18, I'll look to get some later dated strikes. And then last but not least is Wingstop. And, you know, I was on the fence thinking that selling the puts that I had on Friday, I was gonna regret it, right? Because looking at the chart, I still think it's going to 365. So it bounced a little bit, and some of these other names in the casual dining space bounced. Kava bounced. SG, that's that. Hang on, let's see what it's at. Yes, Sweet Green is up 2%. Um, so I'll just hold off for now. Domino's Pizza reports earnings this week. And that one's, let's see if I have it here. I don't even know what day they report. Sorry, folks. Uh, ba-ba. Yeah, so Domino's reports Thursday before the open as well. And what's the implied move? Oh, here we go. 5.6%. Uh, if you look at Domino's, it was making higher highs and higher lows, and then just consolidated in May and June, and then pulled back with the rest of the casual dining names. If it has a miss, maybe it trades under $400. I'll probably the premiums are expensive, so I'll probably pass on that one. I think that's about it, folks. Thanks for listening. We got about an hour left in the day. Yeah, let's have a great rest of the day. I'll see you all tomorrow. Rock and roll.